So the current Sporting manager, Ruben Amorim, has emerged as the frontrunner to take over from Jurgen Klopp as Liverpool manager at the end of this season. I'm going to stick my neck out on the line. I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to say that this is the one that's going to happen. I'm so much so that I'm going to make a video all about it. What will an Amorim side look like at Liverpool next year? How will his 3-4-3 system that he's used forever translate to the current Liverpool squad? I want to explore all of that in today's video. I want to set up a Liverpool side in Amorim's image, in the system that he's used for a long time now at Sporting, and then maybe simulate a season and see how that goes. Let's talk about the potential of this appointment and what can we expect from an Amorim Liverpool team. Let's dive in. So it's June the 1st. It's the end of the current season and Jurgen Klopp is no longer the Liverpool manager. But there's a new man in charge, and that man, I believe, is going to be Ruben Amorim. What I have done is I've jumped into Football Manager and I've set up this Liverpool team in an Amorim tactic. Actually, it's RDF's Amorim tactic. I'm going to link his video all about this tactic in the description of today's video. He is brilliant at doing this. He creates all of these tactics. And do you know what? He could do a way better job than I could do in recreating a 3-4-3 in the style of Ruben Amorim. If you want to go and watch that, go and watch that. And, you know, go and support our good friend here, RDF. This is what that system looks like. It is his famous 3-4-3. It's what he's played for ages at Sporting. I think at Braga before that as well. It's what he's known for. I actually think it's what he's going to do if he becomes the Liverpool manager. With a lot of different managers, you think they will adapt and they will change. With Amorim, because he's so set in this type of system, I think this is how Liverpool will set up next year. Of course, we'll caveat that with he could still come in and change things. I think we need to be a little bit realistic with that. But this is what I believe, or how I believe things will look next year. What we're going to do is we're going to set up this Liverpool team in the style of Amorim. We're going to talk about how it might work with the current squad, maybe where they need to go and make new signings, maybe make some of those signings. And then we'll simulate a season to see how successful will this new era of Liverpool be. Before we do jump into that, I just want to shout out this video here by James Alcott as well. We love Jim on this channel, a big hero of mine. I actually adore the bloke. So just wanted to shout him out because a lot of the inspiration and the knowledge about how Amorim's going to set up, as well as watching him play myself a little bit, a lot of the knowledge came from this video here from James, and I wanted to try it in Football Manager and see how that could work too. So big shout out to Jim. Go and watch that video as well if you want to educate yourself, and go and subscribe to his channel because what a legend he is. Anyway, let's jump back into FM. Let's actually have a look at how this current season has ended. I can now reveal that Manchester City are going to win the league this year. As heartbreaking as that is for myself as a Liverpool fan. According to FM, this was an up-to-date real-life database. So you can go back to, if you look at the fixtures, this was up-to-date as of the Brighton game. After the 2-1 win against Brighton, look. They didn't go and win 4-0 against Sheffield United. It was 3-1 in the end. They did win. This is nice. I'm recording this before the Manchester United game. If they can win 3-0 at Old Trafford, I will be very happy. Although they did drop points against Fulham, West Ham, and then they lost in the Europa League final to AC Milan in this one. So that's not as good. But that's not what we're here for today, is it? Today, we have got this Ruben Amorim tactic 3-4-3 setup. And I'm going to go through the squad, how I think Liverpool might look next season. Let's start with the goalkeeper. Now, I don't really think there's too much of a discussion here. Alisson will be that goalkeeper. I mean, Kevin Kelleher has been exceptional in his absence with the injuries that Alisson has had this year, but Alisson, for me, is the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, and he will be our keeper next year under the new manager. Would love it if they give him a new contract as well, just as an FYI. Ruben, if you talk Portuguese, sort out that. It's not going to be him anyway. It's going to be Michael Edwards, which I suppose is another fun thing in this discussion too, in that Liverpool have a whole new setup, and it's a new old setup with Edwards at the top of it now, Richard Hughes coming in from Bournemouth, so he will want to throw his weight around a little bit in terms of signings, I think, and doing things his way with the new manager in mind. Not quite sure where recruitment's going to go. It's difficult to tell at this point. I do want to say as well, Michael Edwards being the head of football at Liverpool now, I've had a bit of a theory that Amorim was his guy for a long time now. Of course, we had the Xabi Alonso links. I wanted Xabi to come in and be the Liverpool manager. I think we all did a little bit. That 3-4-1-2 system that he uses, I think it could have translated. I could really see Trent going to be that Frimpong type player on this right-hand side. But I actually think the Amorim 3-4-3 translates to the Liverpool squad better anyway. And the way that he plays front foot and the way that he's attacking and just his system, his style, I think I've just got a theory that Edwards maybe preferred that all along anyway. Maybe that's just copium from me because Alonso's, holding out for the Real Madrid job. Either way, I think it's going to be Amorim and it will be Alisson in goal. And then in defence, I think we've got an interesting one that it will be Konate on this right-hand side. He plays with these three centre-backs. They're very wide, these left wide centre-backs. In fact, RDF has gone for a wide centre-back on this right-hand side. It needs a pacey operator. And with the way that Trent's been inverting anyway over the past season and a half now or so, then actually Konate's had to do this role. Matip did it before his injury. You need a defender that's got great anticipation and lots of pace. Ibrahima Konate, fantastic for this. And I think he will slot in on this right-hand side, no problem at all. And I actually think we've got some good options there too. Quansah could probably do that if needed. I think Joe Gomez could do this on this side if needed. I think Konate will be the first choice here. In the middle, now this is where I think it's actually really interesting. Virgil van Dijk will be the central defender, in my opinion. And it is where Sebastian Coates plays currently in the Sporting team. Sporting, by the way, look like they're going to go and win the title again under Amorim. And he really ended a bit of a voodoo by winning a title there previously. And it looks like he's going to go and do it again. They've gone 4 points clear with a game in hand after beating Benfica last night as I record this. And the way that they did that was very much like counter and go and hit them on the break. They scored late to make it 2-1 and win the game. And he's going to go and deliver another title, it seems, which just adds to his pedigree, doesn't it? And I think makes it even more likely that he's going to come in and be the Liverpool manager. Now, left centre-back. Now, I think there's a discussion point to be made of who plays this left-sided centre-back in this 3-4-3. Now, Joe Gomez, I think, could definitely come in and do this. He's been in great form this year, mainly as a fullback on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Hasn't played much as a centre-back. This left-sided centre-back is almost like an auxiliary left-back at times, and I think it will suit him. However, I think if there is a position where we might strengthen or bring in a new player, I think it would be this left centre-back berth for this summer. And Liverpool have been really heavily linked to Gonçalo Inácio previously. I just wonder now with the Sporting link, with the Portuguese link, maybe it's a little bit lazy, maybe it's a little bit obvious, but surely now, right, we're going to see... If there was ever a time to go and sign him, this would be that time now. And I think he would fit in a lot of ways to be this ball-playing left-sided centre-back, can fill in on the left-hand side here as this left-back bombs on, which, by the way, I think will be Andy Robertson. I think a new left-back might be something they look at. I don't know if we need one right now. I think I've still got full of faith in Andy Robertson, although maybe there's been a bit of a drop-off, but I think he could do this role quite happily. Maybe somebody younger to come in over there. I don't think Tsimikas is necessarily that guy, but I think Robertson... I think will be a starter with Trent on the other side on over here. If we pop him in there, I think it's going to be a bit of a return to the old school Trent. Now, I wonder what he thinks about that personally. Will he want to play more of a midfielder? Will he actually, that'll be a conversation he has with the coach to say, no, don't use me as a right back. I want to play as a central midfielder. I don't know. There's still a part of me that thinks that Trent wants to be a midfielder. I'm actually kind of excited to see him return to this winger type player to whip in the crosses, and I think it's something that Sporting utilise. And if he goes back to just doing this right back role or this right wing back role, I really think it could suit him. And I just wonder what we're going to see over on this side. I've put him in here for now, and then we've got two midfielders to go alongside him. One is more defensive and just kind of sits in and is a bit of a rock in the midfield. They use Hjulmand there at the moment, Sporting Lisbon. I think that suits a player like Wataru Endo. Now, Endo has been a revelation this year, and I personally love him to bits. Will this be somewhere they want to bring somebody a little bit more long-term? He's the other side of 30. Is Endo? He's going to be 31 by the end of this season. Possibly. But I think actually, in terms of the role that Hjulmand does, and actually I saw last night in the game against Benfica, Amorim got absolutely livid with Hjulmand in that game. I think he subbed him as well after a couple of passes that he made that went backwards rather than trying to push the game on, going forward and breaking the lines with passing, which Endo's really good at, by the way. He's very smart in his passing. I think he does play those little threaded balls into the other midfielders, McAllister and Szoboszlai. I think it would fit the role quite nicely. I was watching the game, watching it, thinking who would do this role, who would be where, which is why I want to make this video. I think Endo would really fit there. Will it be somewhere to maybe address in the future? I think it would have to be because of Endo's age. But I like Endo and I think he could do the role nicely. I think it would free up, alongside him, Alexis McAllister to do what RDF has put in as a segundo volante. But this is sort of a all-action midfielder. Get him on the ball, get him to start all the play and run the show from here. McAllister, in more recent weeks, has been running the game for Liverpool. He's been in superb form. What a footballer. I knew we were getting a good footballer because, he's a World Cup winner. He was good at Brighton, but I didn't know we were getting this footballer. Honestly, he's gone to levels that are above, especially after the start of the season where he played as the number 6, a little bit deeper. He looked a bit slow, although you could see real touches of class in there. He had the red card as well against Bournemouth, it was. He has gone to a completely new level, McAllister, recently. I adore him. I think this role could be really fun for him. It's a type of Bernardo Silva type role. They use Morita at Sporting at the moment in this role, and he's very Bernardo Silva in his style. He's, a small guy, good on the ball, gets lots of touches, dribbles around that midfield and makes things happen from there. McAllister, I think that could fit him down to a T. I was actually thinking watching it, and something that maybe this might be a little bit more left field, but I really feel like it suits Harvey Elliott's game. A little bit different to what he's doing now with Liverpool, where he plays on the other side, on this right-hand side. And these two, by the way, could switch over. It could be the more defensive midfield on the left-hand side, and then it will be Elliott or McAllister on this right-hand side. However, this is the way that RDF's got it set up. I really feel like it could suit Elliott. I mean, you could even look at players like Szoboszlai. Could Curtis Jones come in and do this one? I think he could. Liverpool have a lot of midfielders, central midfielders. Gravenberch in there, Szoboszlai in there. We've got Carvalho coming back. I do wonder if this is an area where it's going to be a little bit tricky in terms of the transition from Klopp to Amorim, in that he only plays these two central midfielders. This guy over here, by the way, which if I pop them in, I think Dominic Szoboszlai could do this role beautifully. I'm going to pop him in. I do wonder if this is going to be a contentious place. Are we going to see players that would usually be starting players and play a lot of games under Klopp struggle for game time under Amorim? Players like Gravenberch, players like, Elliott, where he's actually used in there. Carvalho, I've got a feeling, will come back and be used. I don't know if it's just the Portuguese link and it's an obvious one for me again, but he fits that type of technical, small, good on the ball player that Amorim seems to use in that Sporting team. I've just got a feeling that he's going to be used a lot this year. In this midfield, though, will this be a contentious place? I wonder if it will be, just because there's just less numbers. There's more defenders, 3 centre-backs, only 2 central midfielders, and we've brought a lot of new midfielders in this central area to play in Klopp's 4-3-3 system. That's where I think Szoboszlai might play this role up here. This is the Pedro Gonçalves role in the Sporting team, and it's another playmaker just further forward than this slightly deeper one here, who gets on the ball and makes things happen for the 2 goal-scoring players, which are these 2 over here. It's Marcus Edwards, who plays on the right-hand side for Sporting, which I think will obviously be Mo Salah if he stays at the club, which I think he will this summer. I think he could really suit this, cutting inside, doing what Mo Salah's kind of doing anyway. Marcus Edwards is left-footed. He plays on that side. It suits Salah, which, again, might be different to, I think the Xabi Alonso system might have brought a little bit of a worry for Salah. Where was he going to play in that system with the 3, they had the big striker that's Patrick Schick at Bayer Leverkusen. Then they had people like Hoffman and Adley and other players around at the top, which I'm not sure Salah was necessarily that. I think there's a more definite role in this Sporting Amorim system for Mo Salah. And then, of course, up front, Darwin Núñez. You've got players like Cody Gakpo, and these players on the bench here that you can see, these players, where they fit in will be up for debate. But players like, if I just go down through them, Curtis Jones, I could see playing either of these roles. He's played as a double 6 for the England under-21s. He's played it for Klopp as well here. Could do either, but definitely will be used. I think he's a really good player. Carvalho, I think, will be used a lot more next year. Quansah could play any of these. He's very Van Dijk light, isn't he? So actually, if you needed him to come in, by the way, just to mention on Van Dijk in here, a big part of the system is long, direct balls from defence. They will wait to see if that team is going to go and press them and they can play some football around and get it into these midfielders. They'll play through them. If they're not being pressed, long direct football is something that Amorim is not afraid to do. And I think we've got the best in the league possibly from defence, or at least one of the best in there in Van Dijk, who can unleash these long balls, which Sebastian Coates is doing on a regular basis for Sporting. Just to mention that one in there. I think Quansah could do that. I think actually Joe Gomez could also just come and play any of these. You could see Conor Bradley playing this right wing back role quite easily. Elliott, I really like as this little nimble central midfielder. Could also, though, go and be that technical, slightly further forward off the left-hand side midfielder too. Gakpo, I think, could do this one, actually. And he's played a lot in midfield for Klopp, so I think Gakpo could come into there if needed. Could also play the striker role. Not sure how much he could do this role here because he's more right-footed, but I guess this is where there might be tweaks that Amorim might make to the system. Maybe we'll see him there. One thing that I'm not quite sure where Luis Diaz fits in. It will probably be here, but or will it be on this side? It doesn't. It's like not a natural fit to compare it directly to what Sporting are doing at the moment under Amorim. Although he's such a good player that I think he could easily. I think he will fit him in, and he will use him. I just don't know if that's quite as a natural of a player to fit in. Necessarily. Gravenberch I worry about. Jota could do any of these front three roles. I think he's so clever as a footballer. So I think we'll see a lot of Diogo Jota, and there will be a lot of rotation from these players up the top end of the pitch here. John Matip I don't think will be at the club next year because of that injury. He might be, we will see. Thiago I don't think will be at the club. Adrian I don't think will be at the club necessarily. Bobby Clark, just a youngster that will be used here and there where needed. Bajcetic, if we could get a Bajcetic, I don't know if the role's quite right for him in this Endo role here, but I think I would like to see it. I love the idea of Bajcetic coming in and being a really big player for Liverpool in the future. There's so much talent there. But yeah, that's kind of my take on things. Let me know what you think. Is there anything that I've said in here that you think is completely wrong? Is there anything that you agree with, or is there anything that you've spotted that I've not necessarily noticed in here? Please do let me know in the comments below. It's a bit of a chatty video, this one today, where I like to talk about real life football stuff. And obviously being a Liverpool fan and with this big news in the offing at the moment, I think it's just fun to kind of speculate and to maybe try and, predict what's going to happen in the future. Please do let me know what you think in the comments down below. What I'm going to go and do is simulate the season with, I'm just going to take the players out actually. Let's leave the players out, but put the system in. I have made, using the editor on here, the only changes that I've done is I have made the assistant manager at the club, Ruben Amorim. Here he is, look, with his preferred 5-2-3 in the game, which is his 3-4-3 actually, if you look at it. I've made him the assistant manager, as well as I've also, just with the staff, I've also brought in people like Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards in case they do transfers. The only signing that I've made added to the club is that signing of Gonçalo Inácio, which I think for 40-50 million pounds, I think will be something that I can see Liverpool doing in the summer. Otherwise, it is the same Liverpool team. We're going to go and see how he does with the season, just for a little bit of fun. Can he go and win the league with this Liverpool team? Will it be Manchester City to retain that league title once again? Will Arsenal come and win the league under Arteta? Let's go to the end of the season. Let's just go and find out. All right, so here we are at the end of the season then. And Liverpool, under Amorim in Football Manager, have finished third. It's maybe a little bit disappointing. Only 73 points as well, which I think if Liverpool win on the day that I'm recording this, they go to 73 with like 7 games to go. So there's a bit of a drop off in terms of points. But again, the whole kind of Premier League table has dropped off in terms of points. Chelsea have won it with 78. Then City, Arsenal have dropped to 6 here under Arteta. I assume it's still under Arteta. It is indeed. But maybe a slightly weird table. Of course, this is Football Manager. I don't know how much we can rely on this. But let's have a look at how the players performed in this system. Let's see if Football Manager agreed with my selections in the different places. And I can straight away tell you that they kind of didn't. Also, I feel like I should talk about Nunez in this role too. The Gyökeres role at Sporting, I think is perfectly suited for Nunez, and something that I didn't talk about when I was going through the system before. There's obviously more intricacies that we could talk about. And again, that James Lawrence Alcott video that I did talk about earlier, will go into a lot more detail with freeze frames to teach you about the system that Amorim uses. Nunez, though, will potentially be a really big beneficiary from the system too. I just wanted to mention that because I think it's something that I missed beforehand. Gyökeres being one of the best young strikers in Europe at the moment and has been fantastic. Unbelievable player. I wonder what his next steps are going to be. Hopefully he stays at Sporting for a while as well, but what a player he is. Let's have a look at these stats then on the side. I've got their goals, their appearances and their assists, not in that order. Also their average ratings. Alisson played 50 games, although Kelleher did play 3. And the game that I picked out, because I want to have a look at some of the goals to see if we can see some of the patterns that we might see in real life. Kelleher was in goal for that game that I looked at, so he has played a couple of games there. Konate played 33, which means that actually Gomez played 37. I don't know if this was always at right centre-back. Can we see on his form here? It was the wide centre-back. So when he does play, it is Gomez who's coming in as the right-sided centre-back here. Played more games than Konate. Did Konate have injuries? We had 3 abdominal strains and then 1 twisted ankle. So he missed like I suppose he missed 12 weeks in total, so that might be down to injuries a little bit. But he is they are rotating there. Van Dijk played 40. Didn't have as high of an average rating as maybe you'd expect. No real assists in there as well from those long balls necessarily. Inacio played 43, so he did play football. Gomez being the other centre-back there. Did Quansah play too much? Quansah only played one game, so no is the answer to that. I do wonder if Liverpool might need to sign another centre-back. By Cetic, I just wondered, did he play centre-back? I've just got a feeling he may have done. If I go to his form here, yeah, he played one game at centre-back, mainly as a defensive midfielder though, so not so much actually. So Inacio with 43. In the midfield, or if we go slightly ahead of those with the wing-backs here, Trent, playing as that right wing-back, got 18 assists, 4 goals, 44 games, one of the highest average ratings in the team. In fact, the highest average rating in the team. It could be really exciting to see him go back and simplify his game and just be like a wing-back. I think it could be a different Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I'm kind of weirdly excited about seeing it. 18 assists here. Obviously, a lot of those are probably from set pieces as well, you'd imagine. He will be the set piece taker, although not many centre-backs scoring headers. 2 goals from Konate, 1 from Van Dijk. Any more from the other? I mean, 5 from Joe Gomez, so maybe that's a weird one. Having never scored a Liverpool goal ever, but he's got 5 in this current season here. Maybe Amorim's going to be the guy that makes Joe Gomez a goal scorer. Who knows? Who knows? I hope he gets one before the end of the season, actually. On the other side, Robertson got 10 assists. Also very good, 38 games from him. Simicast, did he play? Played 15 times, 16 sub appearances too. So was coming in as the backup left back over there. Endo played 46. 9 goals from Endo from this defensive midfield spot, alongside McAllister, who's currently injured with a broken lower leg. So he would have had more appearances if he didn't break his leg, it would seem. 41 from him, 9 goals, 6 assists from McAllister. That means, did Elliott barely played. 3 sub appearances from Harvey Elliott. Doesn't have the familiarity to play here, look. 1 or half a star here. Not even sure he's got much 2 stars here, so that's maybe why he's not coming in to play that role, potentially. Gravenberch only played 3 as well. Who was playing this midfield role then? Curtis Jones played 13. I guess it was just him rotating with McAllister a little bit. And then Szoboszlai hardly played as well. 15 sub appearances, but only 3 starts. Again, probably because he's more well suited to this role in FM. I think he could do this role in real life. And I suppose with 42 appearances, it was Diaz playing on this left-hand side. He got 11 goals. Salah got 13 goals from the other side. Nunez, only 11 goals. Didn't play that well. I think we can maybe expect a bit more from him in real life. I think it's well suited to him. Let's have a look at let's have a look how they did in the cups there. Champions League, they got knocked out in the round of 16 to Napoli. 6-2 on aggregate as well. That's not great. FA Cup, they lost in the 3rd round. That's not great. League Cup, they lost in the 3rd round to Bristol City. Not great in terms of a season this. 3rd in the league, I suppose, is... I mean, would you take it in a transition season? New manager? It's a bit disappointing, I suppose, after challenging for the title the year before. But new manager, I don't know. It's Champions League qualification again, isn't it? I think you'd want a bit more from the cups here. Let's have a look at just one game here. I'm just going to pick out a recent one so we can have a look at the highlights. They beat Chelsea 3-1 away from home. And this is how he set it up, look, in the game. So Kelleher played this game. Konate, Van Dijk, Inacio, as I expected. Trent, Robertson, as I expected. Endo here. McAllister's got that broken leg, so Jones started. I think he was he replaced by 92nd minute? No, so he was replaced by... Was he replaced by Joe Gomez? He was. So Joe Gomez playing in midfield. He has played as the number 6 under Klopp a couple of times and does often invert to go and play in there. So maybe that's something we could see. Probably not in this role, which is the more enterprising playmaker type role, isn't it? Salah, Diaz, and then Nunez. It was Diaz playing on the left-hand side. Let's just have a look at these goals to see if any of them show the Amorim system, the way that he likes to play through the lines with those defenders starting things and playing into those midfielders with that one midfielder, the McAllister in our system picking up the ball, or was it all set pieces in this one? It's Inacio at the right wing spot at the moment in this highlight. Konate crossing for a Trent header from the left. Not sure we're going to see too much of that, to be honest. But it's probably come from a set piece breakdown, hasn't it? Maybe this one a little bit more realistic with Robertson throwing cross to the back post, Salah coming in on that back post. Now, we can imagine seeing that one, popping it into that back post. Salah on the right-hand side here, weirdly. Here's Trent. Again, this has come from a set piece, hasn't it? And it's going to be headed back in by... It's Nunez poaching. I suppose, hopefully, we can see a bit of Nunez poaching in that striker role next year. Not sure those are necessarily the archetypal Amorim goals that we might expect to see. However, it's worth having a look in FM, isn't it? And actually, again, I'll go back to that video that RDF made. He shows how it all works in his tactics video. Not really the focus of what I was doing today necessarily, but if you want to go and watch it, go and watch that one for all of those needs too. This has been fun. I've enjoyed it. We could maybe go and do some more seasons with this. If you want to see this type of video, but maybe for other managers that are likely to be appointed at other teams, then let me know in the comments down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. A bit different. It's one of those kind of passion projects for me. I just love talking about football and Liverpool specifically. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Even if you're not a Liverpool fan, let me know if you're not a Liverpool fan and you made it to the end, because you're the real OGs, to be honest, in this one. But thank you for watching. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one and all of the other stuff that we're doing at the moment. And thank you so much for all the support over on the Patreon too. I appreciate you guys. Have a lovely rest of your day. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.